What is encryption? It is a process of converting readable data, which is plain text, into scrambled. Scrambled in the sense unreadable format, ciphertext we call it, so that only authorized people can read it. Okay. Think of it as locking your message in a special box. Only someone with the right key can open it. Okay. So encryption is converting your plain text into scrambled one. Okay. You might have observed in WebLogic. In WebLogic, suppose you're creating a data source and you're giving the password, right? Once you give the password and click on save, if you're giving 8 characters and click on save, the 8 characters, it will be like, it will extend. You will not know whether you have given 8 characters or multiple characters. Another example, in WebLogic, you might have created the boot.properties file to save the user ID and password, correct? So while creating, you will mention like username is equal to WebLogic and password is equal to WebLogic 123 and start the server. The server will read the boot.properties. While reading, it will encrypt these details. So after encryption, what happens? The same thing, username and password, it will be there, but it will be encrypted with AES, something like this one. All right. So this is encryption. Only the server will understand. You will not understand what it is. Right. So this is encryption. Decryption. Okay. Decryption is a reverse process, converting the ciphertext back into plain text using the key. What key? Private key. So like unlocking that special box with a matching key to get your original message. So where does this happen? This happens between client and server. So client will encrypt the data using I don't have space here, using server's public key. Who? Client. Client encrypts the data using server's public key, and server decrypts the data using server's private key. So the server will have the private key inside the key store safely here. It will not be shared with anyone, but the public key will be shared with everyone. I am opening Amazon.in, you all are opening Amazon.in. So here is the public key. The server is sending the public key by presenting the chain of certificates to the client. The client will pull out the public key, this one, and it will start encrypting the data and it will send it to the server. Server once it receives the encrypted data, it has the matching private key of this public key. These are paired, right? Both are created at the same time. The public key and the private key created at the same time, if you lock the data with this public key and unlock the data with the private key, which is generated at the same time, will only be able to decrypt the data. If I create, okay, let us think, I have two servers. I have two servers, sorry. I have created key pair here, here, and key pair here. So if I use the private key here, this server's private key, to decrypt this message, it will not be possible. I cannot do it because these two keys are mathematically connected. Whatever you encrypt with one public key will be decrypted by the private key that is coupled with this public key. Clear, guys? Okay. So decryption is done by the private key. Okay. Why use encryption? For privacy, for security, for integrity, for authentication. We have seen all these things. No one can read your data, and it prevents hackers from stealing your sensitive information, ensures the data has not been changed or manipulated, and authentication, making sure it came from the right source. So what is a key pair? It is the public and private keys. Okay, now somewhat deeper. There are two things, symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. In asymmetric encryption used in SSL or TLS, encryption and decryption use two different keys. Okay, now you see public key and private key. Public key is shared with anyone. We know that. This is used to encrypt the data. Private key, it is kept secret. Like I said, it is kept secret on the server, and it is used to decrypt the data. Only the owner should have it. So they are mathematically linked. What one end encrypts, the other can decrypt. So using the private key, the encryption happens, and using the private key, so using the public key, the encryption happens. Using the private key, the decryption happens. So using two different keys is called asymmetric encryption. Symmetric encryption we will understand in a while, because symmetric is somewhat different. I mean, the methodology is somewhat different. So how key pair works in asymmetric encryption? Client gets the server's public key from the certificate. Client encrypts the data with this public key, and server uses its private key to decrypt it. Even if someone intercepts in between, they cannot read it because they don't have the private key. The private key, that is why it should be always safe inside the server. It should not be shared with anyone.